Good afternoon. Here we are in the park in Sioux Falls. There are guides along the way to show you where you're at, where you might be destined to go, various places. This is a bike trail that leads around the city. Over 20 miles of bike path here. It's a warm day. It's about 70 degrees in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Here we have the Big Sioux River, which runs through a good part of town, and the bike trail keeps up pretty much where this river winds and twists. And as you can see, it's pretty well paved. It's well laid out. There are plenty of scenery, trees, even little lakes along the way. And as I'm going down the bike path here, you can see that there are various landmarks. There is a lot of open prairie in this here town and in this state, as you would think for South Dakota. There's also a lot of nice days here pretty much during the September, October time of the year. It is the first day of fall, by the way, and it's going to be, I think today or yesterday was the equinox. So we're going to be going on the downhill as far as daylight hours. And Sioux Falls is pretty far north, so our days do get kind of short as you get closer and closer to the Christmas season and colder weather. But for now, we're just going to enjoy the nice weather, the scenery, the walk in the park. There's often wildlife. I've seen not only waterfowl, but wild turkeys in the park from time to time. I myself have ridden a bicycle all the way around this entire trail last year, and it takes you around the airport, and when you come up around the airport, it's kind of out of range for some radio stations. However, it is a nice little ride. You could take the entire day and just kind of go through the park, and there's a lot of like picnic areas and various parts of the park that people like to hang out in during, into the shade, and picnic tables, and there's playgrounds and various parts. There's restrooms along the way. So this is a pretty well thought out park project by the city of Sioux Falls and the state of South Dakota, which we like to exploit on nice days. Now, the thing about the parks here is you've got also various entry points and exit points along different roads in town. For instance, we are coming up on 41st Street, which is in the south side of Sioux Falls. And when you keep going, you will run into another main street. And then as you go again, you have more streets that you can exit the park, or you can just continue on going through the park underneath the overpasses. And people like to ride their bikes through the park here and get the fresh air. And also, we have, like I said, lots of prairie or open space. So this is one of the benefits of living here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Of course, up until it starts getting kind of cold and damp in November, and then you might not want to come out. So you got to get as many nice days in as you possibly can during a couple of months a year that we have Otherwise, you've got a tornado season in the middle of summer. It's not as bad as Wichita, where I used to live. Of course, it's a lot rougher down there, but it's still, we get some pretty severe thunderstorms and tornado watches from time to time. So you gotta be careful of that. Once in a while, you'll get hot, humid days where you might not want to come out in the park and the sun's just beating down on you, and this is blacktop, and those are the days you might not want to come out and walk around. However, it's, once again, their summers aren't as brutal, hot and long as the ones in Wichita, Kansas. And you might get a few nice days even in the summer, in the middle of summer, when it's not too bad out. You get some pretty spectacular sunsets sometimes. Today, of course, it is cloudless. As you can see, it is complete sunshine, blue skies here today. The long-range forecast calls for more days like this all the way up until the end of next week. So I may be making some more future videos on walks through the park in Sioux Falls, and we'll take journeys at different junctions within the park system itself. So I just wanted to bring everybody a view of what it's like here in Sioux Falls in the parks. It's a pretty neat park system, I always think. Wichita, they've got bike trails, they got parks kind of like this, but these are, I think they're planned out a little bit better. Wichita has them. They're okay. These seem to be a little more clear of brush and any type of debris, though, you know, there are times when there's a severe storm comes through, and when that happens, then the city has its job cut out for it as far as cleanup of the debris in the aftermath of the storms. Other than that, you can see the water running through. There are always either ducks, geese, I've seen turtles down here. There are occasionally some structures that you might come up on, especially as you get closer to an exit from the park. As you see, we're coming up on right here what we have around the corner too, conveniently, if you was to walk through the park and you get hungry and you get thirsty, there's a Olive Garden right here. And it's relatively quiet, except for you can definitely hear the traffic. But outside of that, it's not like New York City noisy or anything like that. Pretty nice. Sometimes you get some trash, that debris that flies in here because, you know, the winds, you know, in the Plain States you have a lot of wind, high wind, and trash tends to fly around and end up in various places around the parks, and they have to clean that up sometimes around certain times of the day and whatnot, and on certain days. We got a little bit of a steep drop off here. A little bit of tall grass. We've got plenty of space on these bike paths for both pedestrians and bikes. People here generally get along pretty well because there's enough of width within the bike path for everybody. We're coming up now on the 41st Street Bridge. It's just some traffic. There's some bicyclists out today. As you can see, they're enjoying the nice day, the fresh air. There's plenty of sun. I just wanted to share a video with you about the park system, and there's plenty of other parks that I can cover in future videos that you may experience. And if you aren't too far away or whatever, you might want to visit Sioux Falls if you're in Iowa or Minnesota or Nebraska. Those are the 3 closest states to where Sioux Falls lies. It's right in the southeast corner of the state, and some of the state boundaries are drawn from the river. So, well, that brings us to the off-ramp, the overpass. We could continue on if we wanted, or we could just get off here and head down the street and go somewhere. However, I'm not going to do that today. There's a library going in this direction down where we just started the video at. So it's not a big library, it's a small one, but it does suit the purpose. So this is living in the Midwest, Plain States, checking out.